Nigeria has just pulled the trigger on its most ambitious defense project ever, a plan to cover every inch of its skies with radar. The MTRACON project promises to spot drones, missiles, and intruders before they even get close. But why now? Why is Africa's giant suddenly racing to seal the skies it once left exposed? Let's find that out. Nigeria has stunned observers across Africa and beyond with its bold unveiling of the Military Total Radar Coverage of Nigeria project, a defense overhaul that is being described as nothing less than revolutionary. This is not just another procurement deal, it is a declaration of intent, a statement that Africa's largest nation is no longer willing to allow its airspace to remain fragmented, exposed, and vulnerable to incursions. For the first time in its history, Nigeria is moving to blanket the entirety of its skies with a seamless radar shield. An unblinking eye designed to detect, track, and neutralize every airborne threat, from drones hovering near sensitive sites to cruise missiles streaking across its borders. What makes this announcement different from the usual military upgrade stories is the scope and ambition of the project. Officials explained that MTRACON will not be limited to a few scattered installations. It will create a fully integrated web of fixed and mobile radar stations stretching across Nigeria's vast landscape, with command and control centers that can process information in real time and direct rapid responses from the Nigerian Air Force. The emphasis is on full coverage, leaving no region, whether the turbulent northern borders, the oil-rich southern delta, or the remote hinterlands, outside the radar's watchful gaze. Already, the announcement has triggered a frenzy in global defense circles. 4 of the world's most formidable companies have thrown their hats into the ring, each eager to secure Nigeria's trust and investment. Italy's Leonardo has highlighted its long-range radars, known for resisting electronic interference and tracking hundreds of targets simultaneously. Germany's Rheinmetall has emphasized the layered protection of its Skyguard system, which could plug directly into Nigeria's defense industry through ammunition partnerships. Spain's Indra has pitched a hybrid model that blends military surveillance with air traffic management, appealing to Nigeria's ambition to dominate both defense and civil aviation. China's Norinco has presented perhaps the boldest package, offering not only radar systems, but also the establishment of a radar maintenance and research center inside Nigeria, complete with training programs for local engineers. This competition is not simply about technology, it is about geopolitics and sovereignty. For the first time, Nigeria is setting the terms of engagement. No longer content to be a passive buyer, it is demanding sustainability, insisting that whoever wins the contract must invest in local training, infrastructure, and long-term autonomy. In this way, MTRACON is not just a military initiative, but a political signal. Nigeria is determined to shift the continent's defense posture from dependency to self-reliance. Public reaction has been equally telling. Many Nigerians see this as a source of pride, a visible demonstration that the state is finally taking control of the skies after years of worrying headlines about unidentified aircraft and drones slipping past outdated systems. Others view it as a necessary shield for the economy, pointing out that oil fields, power plants, and even the presidential villa have all faced airborne threats in recent years. By promising to eliminate these vulnerabilities, MTRACON has already begun to reshape the conversation about what true sovereignty looks like in the 21st century. Yet behind the excitement lies a deeper question. Why now? What drove Nigeria to act with such urgency after years of tolerating outdated systems and gaps in coverage? Was it a recent series of incidents, or a dawning realization that the stakes had risen too high to delay any longer? The urgency behind MTRACON is rooted in a hard truth. For years, Nigeria's skies have been riddled with holes. These gaps weren't abstract. They translated into real dangers: smugglers flying drugs and weapons across porous borders, insurgent groups experimenting with cheap commercial drones, and unidentified aircraft brazenly entering restricted zones without challenge. In a nation already wrestling with insurgency, oil theft, and organized crime, the airspace became another battlefield, and one that the state was dangerously ill-equipped to control. One of the most alarming moments came when reports surfaced of mysterious aircraft circling near the presidential villa. right at the symbolic heart of Nigeria's power. The Nigerian Airspace Management Agency admitted that radar footage had indeed captured suspicious activity. If the highest seat of government could be threatened from above, then oil installations in the Niger Delta or military bases in the northeast were even more vulnerable. These were not theoretical risks. They were stark reminders that airspace control had become a matter of national survival. The weaknesses weren't just about hostile actors, they were also technological. Nigeria's existing defense systems were relics of a different age. The Roland II and the Shilka, once adequate, were designed for a time when threats came in the form of slow-moving aircraft or conventional bombers. Today's realities are far more complex. Drones can be purchased cheaply, modified with weapons, and deployed in swarms. Cruise missiles can skim low to avoid detection. Even electronic interference can blind outdated radars. Nigeria was attempting to fight 21st-century threats with 20th-century tools, and the results were predictable. Critical blind spots remained, and adversaries exploited them. What added to the urgency was the geographical scale of the challenge. Nigeria is massive, over 900,000 square kilometers of territory, ranging from bustling megacities to dense forests and arid deserts. Covering such a vast expanse requires more than scattered installations. It demands a network that can stretch seamlessly across regions, adapt to terrain, and provide overlapping coverage so no aircraft can slip through undetected. Without such a system, Nigeria's borders were effectively open skies for anyone determined enough to exploit them. The rise of new threats only made the delay more dangerous. In the northeast, insurgents had begun experimenting with drones for reconnaissance and even crude bomb drops. Along the coast, smugglers used light aircraft and low-flying helicopters to evade detection while trafficking weapons and stolen oil. Meanwhile, Nigeria's strategic importance, both as Africa's largest economy and as a nation sitting on vital oil and gas reserves, made it a tempting target for espionage and sabotage. In this context, the lack of full radar coverage was not just an inconvenience, it was an invitation to attack. Nigeria also had to contend with the reputational cost. Each time news spread of unidentified aircraft operating over secure zones, it eroded confidence in the state's ability to protect its sovereignty. In a global order where air dominance often defines power, Nigeria's inability to secure its skies placed it in a weaker position diplomatically. Investors worried about the safety of critical infrastructure, while regional rivals quietly noted the gaps. The government recognized that this vulnerability could no longer be ignored without damaging both security and credibility. That is why the decision to launch MTRACON was not just bold, it was inevitable. The risks had stacked up too high. The technological gap had grown too wide, and the message was too clear. Without decisive action, Nigeria would remain exposed. By moving now, the state signaled that it understood the stakes and was ready to transform vulnerability into strength. Yet the move to secure the skies was only one side of the story. Announcing MTRACON answered the when, but it left open the question of how. Who would provide the technology? What kind of partnerships would Nigeria pursue? And which model of cooperation, Western contracts or Eastern capacity building, would best serve its sovereignty? That takes us directly into the battle now unfolding between global defense giants vying to be part of Nigeria's radar revolution. Let's pause for a second to say, big thank you to the Black Culture Diary community, where Black voices, stories, and legacies are preserved and amplified. By becoming a member, you're not just supporting the channel. You're becoming part of a powerful cultural movement. Let's continue. The unveiling of MTRACON has ignited a global contest that extends far beyond contracts and equipment. It is, at its core, a struggle over influence, vision, and the very future of how Africa defines its defense partnerships. Four giants are circling the opportunity. From Europe come Leonardo of Italy, Rheinmetall of Germany, and Indra of Spain, names steeped in NATO traditions and long histories of supplying advanced systems to established powers. From Asia comes China's Norinco, a firm that has steadily expanded its footprint across Africa by combining affordability with technology transfer and promises of local empowerment. Each contender embodies not just different technology, but different philosophies about what kind of defense relationship Nigeria should embrace. Leonardo has emphasized cutting-edge precision, offering radar systems capable of simultaneously tracking hundreds of airborne targets while resisting the electronic interference increasingly deployed in modern conflicts. Its pitch leans on Italy's track record within NATO, framing reliability and international standards as its strongest assets. In a world where cyber and electronic warfare are as dangerous as missiles, Leonardo wants Nigeria to believe that NATO-tested resilience is worth the investment. Rheinmetall, by contrast, has placed its bet on layered defense, promising integration of its Skyguard system to create multiple lines of protection against everything from drones to advanced aircraft. But what makes Rheinmetall's pitch intriguing is not just the system itself, but its willingness to link the deal with Nigeria's domestic defense industry. Discussions have already hinted at partnerships with the Defense Industries Corporation of Nigeria, suggesting that Rheinmetall sees the project as a doorway into building long-term industrial ties rather than just exporting equipment. Indra's approach is more dual-purpose, seeking to tap into Nigeria's civil and military needs simultaneously. Its radar systems are marketed not only as tools for securing the skies, but also as assets for managing air traffic in a nation where aviation is rapidly expanding. Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt are growing as hubs of regional travel, and Indra argues that Mtracan could serve a double role, strengthening Nigeria's defenses while also modernizing its civilian aviation infrastructure. This blend of military and commercial appeal makes Indra's offer unique, positioning it as a bridge between defense and development. And then there is Norinco. China's state-backed defense conglomerate has made clear it is not interested in a transactional deal. Its proposal includes radar installations, air defense batteries, and advanced counter-drone technologies. But the centerpiece of its bid is the promise of a radar maintenance and research center to be built on Nigerian soil. This is more than a facility, it is a strategic gamble. By training Nigerian engineers, embedding local capacity, and ensuring that the country can service its systems independently, Norinco is offering something few Western firms have ever prioritized: autonomy. For a nation determined to reduce dependency, the appeal is obvious. What makes this contest remarkable is not simply the range of offers, but the way Nigeria has positioned itself. In decades past, African states often entered defense deals as clients, with little bargaining power and few demands beyond delivery of hardware. This time, Nigeria has turned the tables. By insisting on training, maintenance infrastructure, and long-term sustainability, it has elevated the conversation from "what equipment can you sell us?" to "what independence can you help us build?" In doing so, Nigeria has transformed itself from customer to negotiator, from passive recipient to strategic partner. But this transformation raises another question. What kind of partnership will best serve Nigeria in the long run? Should it embrace the European model, rooted in NATO reliability but often tied to costly service contracts, or the Chinese model, which promises technology transfer and local empowerment but comes with its own geopolitical implications? Answering that requires stepping back to look not only at the systems on offer, but also at the philosophies behind them. And it is here that one bidder, in particular, has begun to draw attention, not just for the weapons it can deliver, but for the way it frames partnership itself. That brings us directly to China's Norinco, and the vision it is offering Nigeria that goes far beyond hardware. Here's a reminder to please like and share the video, and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. When Nigeria's Air Force delegation touched down in Beijing earlier this year, it was not merely to tour a showroom of equipment. The meetings with China's defense industry, particularly Norinco and the China Electronics Technology Corporation, were structured around a broader conversation. What would it mean for Nigeria to not only operate advanced radar systems, but to sustain, service, and even adapt them with its own hands? This question lies at the heart of China's pitch, and it explains why Norinco's proposal has stood out from the crowded field. Unlike its European competitors, Norinco is presenting MTRACON not as a sale, but as a partnership. The central pillar of its offer is the creation of a radar maintenance and research center inside Nigeria, designed to be staffed by Nigerian engineers trained directly in China. The aim is to shift Nigeria away from dependency on foreign technicians and contracts, empowering its own specialists to keep the systems running and upgrade them as technology evolves. This is a critical difference. In Europe's model, ownership often comes with invisible strings, service contracts that last decades, spare parts that must be imported, and software updates controlled abroad. Norinco is offering a path out of this cycle, embedding capacity directly within Nigeria's borders. But China's approach extends beyond radars. During the visit, Nigerian officials were shown the Sky Dragon air defense platform, a system designed to intercept aerial threats ranging from conventional aircraft to modern drones. They were also introduced to high-energy laser systems tailored to counter swarms of low-cost unmanned aerial vehicles, an increasingly common threat on today's battlefields. These technologies reveal that China is not merely offering radar eyes to see the sky, but also the weapons to defend it. More importantly, these systems are pitched as modular, meaning they can be integrated with other defense layers to create a comprehensive protective shield. The appeal of this approach to Nigeria is clear. At a time when insurgents in the northeast experiment with drones for surveillance and attacks, when smugglers exploit low-flying routes to move contraband, and when critical energy infrastructure remains exposed, the idea of having radar surveillance linked directly with air defense batteries and counter-UAV technology presents a powerful deterrent. And unlike the packages offered by European competitors, which emphasize NATO standard reliability, Norinco's offer emphasizes independence. It suggests a future where Nigeria does not have to wait for foreign engineers to respond to emergencies, but can act decisively with tools it understands and controls. Yet the significance of China's involvement is not merely technical, it is political. Beijing's engagement with Nigeria forms part of a broader pattern across Africa, where Chinese companies combine infrastructure investment with defense partnerships. In Angola, Ethiopia, and Zimbabwe, Chinese firms have already supplied radar and surveillance technology, often bundled with training programs that seed local capacity. For Africa's political class, this resonates deeply. It signals respect, a recognition that Africans should not only use advanced systems, but also master them. In the case of Nigeria, the continent's largest economy and one of its most influential states, the symbolism is even stronger. This is not without its critics. Western analysts warn that Chinese defense partnerships may come with hidden costs, from strategic alignment with Beijing's foreign policy to dependence on Chinese supply chains. Yet for Nigeria, the question is not about avoiding all risks, but about choosing which risks matter most. The risk of remaining dependent on European firms that treat Africa as a client market is itself a strategic vulnerability. By contrast, China's offer of research centers, training, and localized maintenance provides a chance to reduce that vulnerability, even if it introduces new dynamics into Nigeria's global alignments. Ultimately, China's pitch to Nigeria is not just about radar coverage. It is about rewriting the terms of African defense procurement, turning a one-way transaction into a two-way partnership. For Nigeria, the opportunity lies in leveraging this offer not just to secure its skies, but to become a hub of technical knowledge that can ripple across the continent. And that leads to the final and perhaps most important question. If Nigeria embraces this model, what would it mean for West Africa as a whole? Could MTRACON evolve from a national shield into the backbone of a regional defense system? That is the story that unfolds next. The implications of MTRACON extend far beyond Nigeria's borders. While the project is designed to secure the skies above Lagos, Abuja, and Maiduguri, its ripple effects could transform the entire West African security architecture. In a region where air defenses remain patchy, coordination weak, and threats increasingly transnational, Nigeria's radar shield is more than a national project. It is the potential cornerstone of a regional defense network. West Africa's challenges do not stop at borders. Smugglers flying contraband across Niger or Chad often route their operations into northern Nigeria. Armed groups operating in Mali and Burkina Faso use porous skies to ferry supplies or gather reconnaissance, knowing that surveillance systems are limited and rarely coordinated across nations. Even the Gulf of Guinea, a hotspot for piracy, has seen cases of light aircraft and drones being used to support illegal maritime activities. In this environment, one nation building a sophisticated radar grid inevitably creates opportunities and pressures for its neighbors. Nigeria's MTRACON could provide the backbone for a regional early warning system. If Abuja chose to share radar data with neighboring states, ECOWAS countries could benefit from real-time alerts on incursions, reducing duplication of effort and strengthening collective deterrence. Imagine a scenario where an unidentified aircraft flying across the Sahel is detected in Nigeria's airspace, but its trajectory also threatens Niger or Ghana. A regional alert system linked to MTRACON could allow rapid, coordinated responses rather than isolated reactions. Such integration would represent a leap forward in how West Africa approaches collective security. The political significance of this possibility cannot be overstated. For decades, African defense has often relied on external actors. French forces long dominated air operations in the Sahel, while U.S. surveillance drones filled gaps in intelligence. But reliance on foreign militaries has come at a cost, undermining sovereignty and deepening dependence. With MTRACON, Nigeria is signaling a different path, one where African states take the lead in protecting their own skies and, by extension, their own future. The idea of a West African shield also aligns with broader movements on the continent. The formation of the Alliance of Sahel States, the push for greater defense cooperation within the African Union, and the growing calls for regional industrialization all point to a moment where integration is both urgent and possible. If Nigeria's radar system were to serve as a nucleus for regional cooperation, it could accelerate this trend. The symbolism of African skies monitored and defended by African technology and expertise, rather than external powers, would be profound. Of course, such ambitions come with challenges. Regional politics are often messy, with rivalries and suspicions complicating cooperation. Some neighbors may fear over-reliance on Nigeria, while others may hesitate to share sensitive data. Yet the very existence of MTRACON forces these debates to the surface. By taking the initiative, Nigeria has effectively set the standard. The choice facing its neighbors is no longer whether to modernize, but how, and whether to do so collectively or in fragmented fashion. Beyond security, the economic implications are equally striking. A secure airspace underpinned by advanced radar coverage boosts investor confidence, protects trade routes, and ensures stability for industries ranging from oil production to civil aviation. If extended regionally, this stability could help unlock West Africa's economic potential, turning it into a hub not just of natural resources, but of innovation and connectivity. Ultimately, MTRACON is more than a radar project. It is a declaration of sovereignty, a signal of intent, and a potential catalyst for regional transformation. Nigeria has chosen to step into a role that others have long hesitated to embrace, the builder of Africa's own shield. Whether it becomes purely a national defense system or the foundation of a West African security grid will depend on political will and regional trust. What is undeniable, however, is that Nigeria has redrawn the map of African defense. The days of fragmented skies and unchecked incursions are numbered, and in their place rises the possibility of something new. A continent that not only secures its borders but defines its own destiny in the skies above. Could MTRACON become the backbone of a true West African shield? Let us know in the comments section. Is Nigeria showing the continent how to break free from foreign dependency? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.